everybody to BRTV.
So we're back here at the garage working on the X Pro 125, and what we have here is the PZ20, obviously clone. I think it was like, man, 17 bucks, 14 bucks. It was a really good price. I've been running it now for 6 weeks, and it's really held up great. No problems. I did not have to. I mean, I did open the float bowl here just to take a look and take some images of what kind of pilot jet and main jet comes with this carburetor, and I put it back together. I never messed with the settings or anything. Real delicate. Just screwed it back in. Never leaked fuel. Never had any issues. Never leaked fuel out of the overflow valve. Pretty straightforward. Good carburetor. Choke worked. You'd have to start this. I guess it's because of my idle was set kind of high, kind of low, but you did have to crank it over a few times to get it started when it was cold. But then after that, no problems. Just tap that button, the start button, or one kick, and you're off. With that said, this is a 20 millimeter hole. This is the PZ20, and you can see from right there, my index finger pretty much fills that hole. And I've noticed a loss in torque because of this size. Now, you can run this on the 125. I wouldn't advise you not to, but there are better options out there, and this is why I'm taking this PZ20 clone, Amazon clone, off. As you can see, as I'm turning it here, this is a neat little gadget. Has a hole there at the bottom, and if the bike is completely upside down, it will not leak fuel out of there. Instead, it will come out of that little hole. I thought that was really neat. You have your idle air adjustment here and your idle screw here. Really cool little deal. I'll put the link in the description. I mean, the price is great. They give you a lot of extra parts. The spacer that goes here, they give you like 2 of them. They give you a bunch of gaskets. They give you screws. And the cool thing about this PZ20 that I really liked is that you had one bolt. You screwed it in from the back side of the intake manifold. You put it through, and then it screws into the carburetor. There's no need to have to put a nut and hold another tool there to hold it. You could just pop it in, pop it out, and it's good. Really happy with this little guy, other than it just doesn't have the torque. I would recommend maybe a PZ30, but the problem is that your intake manifold on these, unless you bore it out, but it's going to be the same size down here. This is about a 26. Matter of fact, it is a 26. Now, if you get a PZ30, you got 4 millimeters overcompensated, and what that could cause is, since you have a bigger hole going into a smaller hole, it can cause turbulence, and that can cause all kinds of problems. So you always want a smooth transition from one pipe to the other, all the way into the intake and the combustion and out the exhaust, and you're done. If you got a bigger hole and you're shooting fuel and it's hitting this edge instead of flowing in smoothly with no resistance, and there could be an issue there. I'm just saying. So I'm going to have to put this little guy in the box and put it in storage. I will keep it for a backup. I think it's a great backup. It just doesn't have the torque for my weight and this motor. Now, if you have a kid on a 110 or smaller, all the way down to like a 50, I think this is an amazing product, and you'll like it. Hopefully their build quality is the same. You know, sometimes when you get these clones, little bits and pieces are different. This one really worked out for me. Like I said, it's going to be in the description down below, so you can find it for yourself if you're interested. With that said, I'm going to go back to Mikuni VM22 clone. Quite a bit heavier, quite a bit bigger in size. But also you can see on my left is the PK20 20 millimeter. Here we have the Mikuni VM22, which doesn't stand for the size. That's the model number. The VM22 is a 26 millimeter. So when you think Mikuni Clone 22, think 26 millimeter. And that is exactly the size that I'm going to need there for the intake. It matches up perfectly. And I'm thinking this is why I was low on torque, especially climbing up hills, little slopes. You put it in second gear and just bam, you know, just bust out of there, you know, and go. With this carburetor, it was wonderful. You can do that. You can just now that I didn't have this carburetor and I had the PZ20 here, I had to drop it down in first and bust out of say like a little rut or a little hill, and that slowed me down because then I'd have to bump it in second gear and get going more. When you're already in second gear in this sucker and you're pushing out of that hill, out of that rut, no problem. You know, the only reason why I had switched from this to the smaller one, so I wanted to first of all just try it out, but second of all, I was having overflow issues with the bull. I had went in there in the past and jacked with the settings and didn't quite get it the way I wanted it to. And it was either the level was too low or too high, but I got it set now to where it's just right. So here we are. It's a pretty easy installation. The neat thing is one of the complaints I had with this is I had to hold a socket here and another socket here, and I found these screws, they're a little bit bigger than the ones that come with, but they won't push through, but they will thread through, which is really, really interesting to me because there is no, let me get the other side here, there isn't any threads on here. So I'm like, wow, I don't know if you can see all in there, but there's no threads. But for some reason this thing is threading. It must be catching on the edge. It's holding tight. I'm pulling it and it's not coming out. So I think I'm going to try it like that. And that may be really good way to shortcut having to hold two tools on there. And also, just to show you, this was the spacer they gave you. You know, you don't really need a spacer. I don't know why. I mean, yeah, it comes with a gasket and it makes a seal, but your carburetor has a seal on it. So, but either way, this is the size of the PZ20, and this is the Mikuni Clone VM22 26 millimeter. So you got 20 millimeters here, 26 millimeters here. That extra 6 millimeters of airflow intake with fuel makes, man, it's like, I don't know how many horsepowers I'm gaining. It's got to be at least 1, but you could feel it. I don't know. It's 2, 2.5. I don't know. It makes a difference though. But look at the size of it. It's just, you could tell it's just way smaller. 6 millimeters, man. I mean, like I'm sticking my finger right there and it plugs up 6 millimeters. I got to put my thumb in here to plug up 26 millimeters, and so there's the difference. It's between a finger and a thumb. So let's go ahead and get this top cracked open so we can hook up our throttle cable. And by the way, this rubber boot that went on the top of the throttle cable, that came with the VM, I'm sorry, not the VM, the PZ20. And it has like a 45 to it, and I kind of like it, so I think I'm going to keep it. So you always want to make sure you see the very tip of your cable housing. Stick it in there like that. Grab your spring. Now don't ever mix these springs up from one to the other. You may think, oh, one's less resistance or one's more. I've tried that before, and you know, they just don't, for some reason they don't like that. They like to use the ones that they came with. But, you know, I could be wrong. There's probably a fella out there right now that's saying, oh, I'm running Mikuni clone spring on a PZ20 and I don't have any problems with that. Hey man, more power to you. So you're gonna have two lines on this carburetor slide, one that goes all the way down and one that just goes up about a third of the way. And you're gonna want to look inside of here, and there's gonna be a pin sticking out the highest to you. And that pin that's sticking out, you want to match it with this line. It's like a groove. It sets it in there. It holds it. That's pretty much it. And you take the top portion of this, I guess it's a slide retainer. We'll call it that, slide screw. You don't want to, now you don't want to put a tool on here, but you want to get a nice strong manly grip and cinch it down and be done with it. Then you come back to your boot, place that over. Now we got a nice 45-degree angle on our cable, which is kind of cool. If you notice, what's this over here? It's just a vice grip. I pinched off the line because you do have some residual fuel that's in there. I don't like it dripping out, so I'll just put a gentle pinch on that line and just stop it. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is check your O-ring. Make sure it's in there all the way. If it looks kind of funky, like some parts are fatter or skinnier, pop it out and inspect that O-ring. You want to make sure it's the same thickness all the way around. It needs to be sticking out some, but not too much, because then that means it's not seated into the housing all the way. So this is what's going to make your airtight seal, and that's very important. Because as soon as you put this on, if you have an air leak through here, you're going to know it, because it's going to idle so high, that you're going to think this thing's about to blow up. That's because it's sucking in air from over here. It's got a vacuum leak. They call it a vacuum leak, or just an air leak. It's leaking in. It's leaking in through here into your intake. You want to take that off and make sure you're doing it right. So now that we got the slide put in and positioned right, we're going to see if we can mount it to the intake manifold. And since we're not using a spacer, we don't have a spacer that's 26 millimeter. I have two of them that are 20, but all that's going to do is restrict my flow, and I don't want all that stuff going on. So this is threading into the carburetor housing. Pretty cool, man. I like that. I wish I could tell you what size bolts these are. I'll tell you what, here's the one from the PZ20, and here's the one I got at the hardware store. They almost look like they're the same, but they're not. This one's just a little bit bigger, because I tried this one to see if it would screw into the housing on this, and it wouldn't. It would not. And this almost looks like a little bit more of a coarser. It's like the same size bolt thickness, but a coarse thread, and this one's a fine thread. Interesting. So as we get back over here to the other side, and this is why I really stress the ability of just your screws just threading into the carburetor and not needing a nut in the back, because sometimes you need two hands just to hold the sucker up. And so there we are, we're threading in. Let me get my Phillips on the end of here. So far so good with the threading. Let's see if we can hold some tension. That's the real key there. I just barely put a little baby twist on there. I didn't tighten it down all the way because I want to get this one to sit flush first. Let's see if I can come in through here. Oh yeah. Got a long screwdriver. Means I can make a seal if the threads are holding. This is so epic. Do you know how many cuss words I've thrown at this bike because of, oh, see the threads are skipping there. Damn. You know what? That's okay. Because I have an ace up my ace. I have an ace up my sleeve, and it's called a wing nut. Yes. See, I always have a backup. And by means of backup, I'm going to show you a neat little backup I put on this bike here in a minute. All right. So I don't know if you saw that. I was threading this in, and obviously this housing for the carburetor doesn't have threads, so it just spun out. But I do have the wing nut, and what that will help me do is, let's see if I can stick it on there with my finger. Okay, it's on there. Threading. Oh yeah, baby, she goes right in. Look at that. Oh, and here's the thing with the wing nut, you don't need a tool. Look at that, I just used my finger. Yeah, that's all you need. A couple of WD-40 and your finger. Make sure I get a good seal on that, because you know the sucker will vibrate. Let's get the and the cool thing with the wing nut is you can probably use just about any kind of pair of pinchers you have. If you got a pair of dikes, you got some needle nose, you got your channel locks, it don't matter, it's all good, it will accept it. You know what I'm going to do? This is what I'm going to do. Check this out. Oh yeah, you feeling me? Are you feeling me? Where you at? Get them, let's get them. Oh yeah, you hear that? Click power, baby. That's called clickbait. Clickbait right there. Get my Phillips on there. Woo, I'm feeling it. All right. Because what we want to do is make sure we put a little bit of tension on this carburetor bolt so it doesn't come loose on vibration. Step it up a couple clicks. Clickbait right here. Clickbait. I didn't see it move at all. I'm gonna go for the gusto right here. There you go. Oh, there we go. Got a little cranky crank out of it. Yeah. Now she's tight. And so now next time if you want to unloosen it, Phillips and just a pincher, put her in reverse, you got her off. No more sitting there with the 10 millimeter, you know, going a million turns.
She gave me 3 extra for the chicken. Are you recording?
Yeah. My wife has chickens. She's just one big chicken. What happened? Oh, my Phillips fell off. Yeah, buddy. Wing nut power. See if I can back this one back out with my fingers because it doesn't want to unscrew. Well, here's what it is. Now, if you have a tap and die, you can tap you some threads. I have one tap, but it's only one size and it's way too big. But being able to tap you some threads in that housing, man, that might come in handy. Alright, we are threading in on the other side now. Looking real good. Now if you can see that there, that wing nut fits in there real good. Now if that wing nut gets turned, you won't be able to activate your choke there. So let's make sure we keep it horizontal there. I mean vertical. And then let's tighten her down, and we shouldn't have any problems with that one. Let me get the Phillips on it. I'm gonna set this one to number 15 on this little Walmart Hyper Tough here, whatever that means, right? Oh no, my Phillips fell out. I'm losing it. There we go. Get the handlebars out the way. Damn. I think she's tight. Never understood those people say taut. What the hell does that mean? What kind of English are you speaking, buddy? All right. So here we are. We got step 2 done. Now we need to do step 3, and that is the fuel line. Dang, how did you know that? You must be reading my mind. Let's grab this single ear. I use single ears on just about anything. Even though they are a pain in the butt to take off, that's probably a good thing, because when you're on the trail, you don't want it to come off, right? And if you don't know what a single ear hose clamp is, I'll show you that here in a minute as soon as I get this old busted one off. See, these are one-time use, so they only good for one time. And my dikes are really, really shitty. I got another pair, but it's funny, I was walking in Galveston of all places on the Strand. I don't know if anybody's been down there on the Strand. And I found these dikes laying on the grass. I was like, oh cool, free pair of dikes. I think I found it like 10 years ago and still got them. Crazy. Alright, let's go get a single ear hose clamp, and matter of fact, let me go get the whole box. Here we are in my man cave. It was here when I bought the house. It was built before man cave was even a term. Let's see. Here we are over here. So these are what's called single ear clamps. Basically, they got single ear and they have 2 ear. This would be one side, so you grab your pinchers and you squeeze it and it permanently locks it in place. Now a dual ear would have one here and one here. Really locks shit on. You don't really see them in too many applications, though I wish I would. For instance, 18-wheelers. Man, they should really put those on 18-wheelers. I don't know how many hoses I come across on a brand new Peterbilt. They're leaking coolant and leaking power steering fluid, and they just got a little piss-ass single ear clamp on there. Trust me, I've driven about 4 brand new Peterbilt / Kenworths in the past 3 years, and every single one brand new. It's leaking that stuff. It's crazy. But anyways, here we are with the single ear. I think I kind of ran out of the right sizes, or the more convenient sizes. So I've been working with some that are either smaller or larger and making them work. This one fit. There you go. Just squeeze it on there like so. Let's bring it up a little bit so it doesn't fall down. Zip, right on there. There we go. Now let's try to do this without dripping fuel all over my gear. So as you can see, I use one there, one there. The only ones I don't have these on are up on the tank, because the nipples that come down at the tank that you put the hose over are made of plastic. And these you got to crimp down kind of hard, okay? And they hold on tight, but you got to get a good manhandle on that sucker and squeeze until you get the last drop of lemon juice. And I'm afraid that I'll break off one of them little nipples on the fuel tank, and then here I am buying a new fuel tank or who knows what, you know, putting an insert in there, drilling it out, whatever. So because of that, I do not use them on the fuel tank. What I have on the fuel tank is something that looks like one of these, and they hold up just fine. I have ran into leaky areas in this power sports adventure, and I don't like that. I don't like leaking fuel, man. Y'all send me a comment down there. Anybody like leaking fuel? I mean, it kind of piss you off. Like, man, I really don't like that shit. I really don't. I don't even like getting it on me. I can't stand getting gasoline or motor oil. That's okay. Don't love it, but it's okay. But gasoline, it just soaks up into your skin. Oh man, I hate it. One time I was sitting on the floor and I busted a gas line. It dripped all in my underpants, and it didn't take about 5 seconds and my ass was on fire. Boy, I had to go jump in the shower. I was crying like a little baby. I can't stand that stuff. So this is the... Now they have a tool and I have the tool. They have a tool and I have a tool. See how it goes? I have a tool that's made for it, okay? But it's something crawling on me. What is that? It's not the best made tool, and it kind of pinches it unevenly. So I've found that if you get a pair of dikes, let me get my other dikes. They're a little bit sharper, got a little bit more of an edge on them.
I need your drill.
Right there, take it.
Where is the start bit?
Right here. It's not a star, it's a Torx.
Can you undo it?
There you go. Put it in.
Yeah.
Drill away. Yeah. So it's funny. I've heard mechanics say before. I give my wife shit about the star bit thing because it is a Torx bit. But I've actually been where I've like written up a truck or something and turned it into mechanic and fix. Oh man, I need this star bit, and I'm like, this guy's a mechanic. He should know. Not called a star bit. It's a Torx bit. Anyways. Now the key to this is get you a good pinch, but you want to, first of all, you want to make sure that hose, that fuel hose, okay, let me tell you a little secret here. Not a secret, but some good tips. This fuel hose here, make sure whenever you go to cut it, before you put it on, make sure the cut is nice and even. 180 degrees slice. You don't want no angles, nothing like that, because it's got to sit flat, okay? That's step number one. Step number two, put it on there and put it on all the way. Make sure it goes down all the way. You want to get as much purchase as you can with that hose. Second, and get the right hose clamp. Get one that's too big, it ain't gonna do the job. You get one that's too small, well, you probably won't even be able to get it on there. Third, when you get your hose clamp situated, like saying that word, situated, make sure you see a little bit of your hose below the clamp. Now I don't mean a lot, I mean just a little bit, and I'll show you what that is here in a second. Third, you want to get a good pinch on it. Once it's there, See? Squeeze that sucker real tight, man. That's all you do. Just get it on there, and I'm gonna go for a second try. All you're doing is pulling that metal like that, and you got excess right here. It just stays right there. That's your ear. Give it a little tug. Try to move that thing with your finger. It ain't moving. Now, if this thing is moving, like from this side to that side, it's loose. You're gonna leak fuel. You don't want that. Let's turn on my fuel. Oh, look at that. You see the little bubbles go through? Sometimes it helps to raise it and bring it down. You see little air bubbles pass through. Just to kind of fill it in, right? And we're going to let it sit for about, it should only take about 30 seconds for this bowl to fill, okay? 20-30 seconds. After you let it sit for 5 minutes and you come back, you know, this is you putting on a new carburetor, or maybe a used one like I'm doing. This is my used one, so I know about it. If it's from someone else, you may not know about it. You go to put it on, it's been 5 minutes, you turn your fuel on, you see bubbles go through, you see air go through, it's filling up. You know there's fuel in there, right? You know. So when you go to start it and it don't start, don't think, oh, it must be I'm not getting fuel. Because you saw it go through, and you can tell the guys over here at Bike Revolution, we told you 20-30 seconds it'll be filled. That's how long it takes. Now if it doesn't fill up, maybe you got some clogging going on. I didn't inspect this one on the inside because I knew it was good, but if you get one, inspect it, take it apart, look at all the holes, blow them out, you know. We're gonna wait a little bit. That waiting period is almost there. Scoot my tools to the side. This is the air intake off of the air filter off the PZ20, and it's kind of weird how that's like that. I wonder, oh yeah, it's got a little lip on there. I wonder if it was like that the whole time, sitting there rattling around, not even really getting true air filtration. Crazy. See, man, hindsight is 20/20. Let me take this thing off. What's that mean? Well, you see what you see. That's what that means. What you don't see, you don't see. Well, therefore, it don't get fixed. But now, clean some of that dust off. I got a feeling that's the way it was the whole time I had it. Oh well. At least it was getting some kind of filtration. So this is the one off the PZ20, or maybe it got pushed in. I think it got pushed in because I was trying to force it on here. And this intake pipe rubber boot, it's kind of small. I have the one for this one. It's a little bit bigger, but it sits on here loosely. I noticed that I may be able to use this one and benefit from it because it's not, you can tell I'm gonna do it off camera because, well, I'm gonna do it on camera. I don't know if I'll let you see it because it's just a huge waste of time. But you can tell with some effort, you can get it to pop on there and it'll stay on there pretty damn snug. You might not even need one of these doohickey, what do you call them, hose clamps. Alright, let's go ahead and pop it on. Maybe we'll do this. Give it all 1-2 lube job. Alright, let's see if we can snap this sucker on there. Go bottom first. I know what might help. Try this. That sucker just came right off. So this goes inside there. Let's see if I can pop this on here. It'll be a little easier because I'm forcing that filter and it just wants to. There we go. Now you kind of heard that. Just went snap. Oh, you know what? I forgot my. Yes, my doohickey. All right. Oh, too strong. Bike Revolution, too strong. Man. Put her on ice, brother. Put her on ice. All right. Oh, got my finger. Let's try it again. Oh, got my thumb. Man, this one's fighting me, y'all. All right, let's get it. One more try. There we go. This sucker's tight. That's a good thing, though, right? Oh, yeah. She said, I'm not coming off. I am staying on there. And that's a good thing, right? Let's make it even tighter. Let's make it mechanically tight, not handheld tight. Alright, there's my filter housing. Check it one more time, make sure no trash in there. Now this is supposed to pop right in. Now it's got a little edge in there. It needs to set in. Two. Yeah, I think I got it. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. That's from the PZ20. It kind of sits a little more flusher than the other one that I got. Okay. So I think we're good. We got all 3-4 steps taken care of. Fuel's in there. Let's see what happens when we try to start it. Now this is going to be the first start. My CARB has been sitting for 6 weeks. Pro makes a pretty cool key. Look at that. That's pretty neat, huh? They give you 2 of them. They give you 2 keys and a title. Let's see. Let's hit the old choke first. See, that's off. That's on. Let's give it a try. Let's start it right up. It really likes this carburetor, but there is an issue, and I don't know. Can you tell me what the issue is? Let's go on the other side and take a look. Now, obviously, the issue was it was idling crazy high. So either the throttle was stuck, or the idle air screw was screwed in all the way. I might have done that, or it's got an air leak. All right, I think it might have been the throttle, because I went to pop it and it was like, it felt like it was stuck. Kind of weird, but there is some play in it, see? So I got some play. It's not like it's being pulled on. Start it back up. Okay, it didn't want to idle. You know, I think it was the throttle cable. It was a little jammed in there for the first time. Hey. Let's go ahead and set that idle screw. That's a good sound right there. That's what you want to hear. That dun 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 dun. You don't want to hear dun 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 dun. You don't want to hear it too low, Right there is where you want to idle. That's a good carburetor. And that started up real easy. Let's go ahead and turn it back off. Yes, this is the VM22 26mm. Now with the other PZ20 that I had on there, good carburetor, it's just not good for this size engine. It took some start, choke, start, turned off, turn choke off, start, runs, hold the throttle for a little bit, don't let it die. 3-4 minutes later, it's idling. This one, let's see, key on, everything's ready to go. Wow, it's almost like I wanted to start right there. There we go. I wonder if my starter's going out. I never kick this thing over because I'm always pushing the button. It's so much easier. I did charge it up like a couple weeks ago. There we go. Right on, right on. Hey, check it out. I got a new knife on here. Yeah. Whoa, what's that? What's that? Oh, wow. Nice little dagger. It's pretty cool, huh? Just snaps in there. It's got a plastic case. I figured, hey, what's better than one knife? Two knives. Hey, if y'all like this video, give me a heads up. A heads up. You know what to do. Give me a thumbs up. Holler at me. And hey, don't forget, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.